Are we live? I think we might be live, but I'm not entirely sure. Are we live? I don't know. I don't know if we're live or not. What is going on? I think we're live. I think we are live. Hello, everyone. Sorry, just setting up on a new system. It's all frantics, utter madness and chaos. But welcome to Real Reds Talk, and welcome back to the channel. You're all a bunch of legends. Appreciate the patience for waiting about and stuff. We're supposed to go live at 8 o'clock, but City are on, aren't they? So, you know, do you want to listen to me chat shit whilst another game are on? Whoever it is you're watching. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on at the minute. My head's a bit baffled. But today's show is the main point. Today's show is going to be about our Wonderkids, our gems that we have currently at this club. And obviously, last night's performance was absolutely massive in a lot of ways for all three of the kids that I'm going to talk about today. So, as always, make sure you get involved in the comment section. Let me know first and foremost if you can hear me, because I am on a new setup. I'm just getting used to things. It's a bit mad, so please do have patience with me. But I thought what we could do today, you know, every single night we have shows, don't we, where we do news shows, and it's breaking news this and breaking news that. And sometimes people, you know, you have to put the news aside and you have to just give players their flowers when it's warranted, right? And I think the three players last night in Kobbie Mainoo, Rasmus Højlund, and Alejandro Garnacho were fantastic, were absolutely phenomenal. And I want to talk about their rise individually. I want to talk about, you know, their specific qualities, what make them, you know, such good players. The development, their involvement, you know, how far they've come, what they can get better at in terms of improvements. I really want to dive into it. So it's going to be, you know, a quick kind of 25 minute show, and we're going to discuss it together. And of course, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching this, you know, somewhere else later on, whatever it is, then do get your comments in, because I want to hear him. I want to hear him. I want to see what you lot are saying about it. I'm just going to double check my audio, because if I've been ranting for time and I can't hit and you just can't hear shit, it's a bit pointless, isn't it? So, yes, I can hear myself. I can hear myself. That's absolutely perfect. Right then, who do you want to talk about first then? I feel like someone says that in WWE. Isn't there a famous WWE superstar who says that? Who do you want to talk about first? Let's go with Rasmus. Obviously broke the deadlock last night. Broke the curse, if you will. I think the guy, is it Shawn Mills who's got that song? Is it Things Can Only Get Better? The meme, dude. It was obviously absolutely buzzing. I think he's just gone #1 as well. So if anything, Rasmus is helping him. But yeah, obviously broke the curse last night. He scored 5 in the Champions League. Some amazing goals, which I definitely want to dive into. But there was a couple of quotes. I think that's how we're going to start this kind of, you know, praise for the youngsters. So we're going to start off with a couple of quotes that came out from last night. And Højlund got asked about kind of different attacking partners and how he feels about it. And I love this kind of reply from him. He says, I don't care who I'm playing with. We all play for Manchester United, so we all have our own different qualities. Whether I'm playing with Anthony, Garnacho, or Rashi, whoever is playing on the wings or in the number 10, we have to find each other and create. I love to play with all of them. I am just a lucky man. So very humble from Højlund there. He got asked about the media, because obviously that's a very interesting aspect in it. I feel like there's a lot of pressure, you know, it can make or break you, can really make or break you, you know, as a kid. And it's at a club like United, where the media just really, really can manipulate, can really focus on English players. It can be a bit of a bastard for some players. You've seen it happen all the time. It's happening with our current crop of players. So a young player at this kind of club, the amount of money you get in, the eyeballs that are on you, it's hard. It's hard. But Højlund says, I try not to focus too much on the media. If I did that, I would get crazy in my head. I just try and focus on my game and try to be better at training on the pitch every day. The hard work pays off. I was happy. You can see the relief in my celebration as well, obviously talking about his goal, but also the feeling being the match winner and getting the 3 points at home against a good opponent. I'm lucky and a happy man. Now, look, people and rival fans and other kind of people, we've got Ahmed Believe in the chat saying, I'm new from Nigeria. Big up to yourself. Hope you enjoy the channel. Please do stick around and subscribe if you haven't done already. We're just focusing on Højlund at the moment, but yeah, 20 years old, this kid. I think a lot of people forget that. And the one thing I hated instantly about this transfer, nothing to do with him, of course, was the fact that you had Hojlund at City, who had been proven, you know, scoring loads of goals for Dortmund in the Champions League and in the league and breaking records. And because he's got a similar name, players want to tie him with the same brush and they want to say like, oh, you've got the B-Tech Haaland and blah, blah, blah. It's completely different circumstances, right? Obviously, Højlund has come from Atalanta. I think he played at Copenhagen as well. He's been at a few other clubs. But he's still very raw. He's a talented kid, but he's at a different stage of his career than Erling Haaland. 20 years old. He's only got 6 goals in 21 matches. You know, from what I've seen of him so far, I think he's got great positional play. I think he's extremely quick, which you don't see too often a lot of the times. I think in the past couple of games, he's kind of been tussling with the centre-backs a bit. But when he opens them legs, he can run. He's very, very quick. He's strong. He can hold off players. He can usually bring it into feet. I think a couple of the games recently, his touch has been a little bit off, but I think that was due to a lack of confidence because of no goals. And if you look at the goals that he scored in the Champions League, the one against Galatasaray in particular is the one I really, really loved. I thought the run from the halfway line, I know there was a bit of mistake on Galatasaray's part, but the run from the halfway line, the sprint to get to the box, and then the little dink over the keeper is what he's capable of, is what this guy can do. Obviously, you need to see this more on a frequent basis, but when you see little previews, I need to burp. There we go. Little previews of that and little glimpses, that is his potential. And I think the more you get players around him, more consistent players you get around him, and the more you work patterns with this player, the more you will see things like that. People just live in this kind of era where they want everything like this, you know, in abundance. Quick. We need to see him score 30 goals in one season straight away. Whereas in actual fact, this kid needs time to develop. Now, what can help him improve? How can this kid score more goals? I think the answer to this is obvious, isn't it? It's very, very obvious. The lack of service has been a huge issue. I think last night's game was a little bit different with Aston Villa. I think you saw Bruno more playing as a 10, which obviously helped striker significantly. So that's where I want to keep him. This is the reason why everyone's going on about McTominay not playing in the midfield, because what was happening when we was playing McTominay in the midfield, he was accommodating for him in a weird way. So he was like dropping Bruno and bringing him away from the position he's playing at, more as like in the Eriksen role, and then deploying Scott McTominay in the attacking role to crash the box. But the issue is, when McTominay receives the ball in that kind of area, he doesn't do nowhere near as much damage as Bruno Fernandes, or doesn't link up with the striker. If anything, he takes the space of Højlund and kind of crowds him out a little bit. I thought Højlund looked like he had more space last night. So that's one thing. The other things is the wingers as well. I believe the wingers that we have are more natural to kind of go for a shot, cut in. Their first thought is never to look for the striker. If you put Højlund in City's team, he'd have quite a few goals now. I'm pretty convinced of that. And I'm not just even going to use City as the yardstick, put him in Arsenal's team. You know, any team, most teams in Europe who are good at chance creation, you will see Højlund score quite a lot of goals. But as everybody saw from the stats that got put out there, it was individual passes, wasn't it? It was like 5 passes in 5 games, and that is no way near. How could you expect a striker to score when he's having about 3 touches a game? And statistically, he's at the bottom in terms of passes received into him. So obviously he's going to struggle. And the longer that goes on, the worse it gets. Thank God he's broke it now, because now you feel like sometimes when you see these things happen with strikers all the time, right? They have this kind of drought, especially when they first join a club, and then they score, and then you see him, you know, he'll probably kick on now. You know, could score, I don't know, 5 in 8 or 5 in 10, let's say. I genuinely believe they can do that. We've got Nottingham Forest next. I think we've got Wigan in the Cup, and then we've got Tottenham. So if he starts scoring now, you know, the rest will come with it naturally. I'm not going to put too much pressure on the kid. I know everyone wants things right now and, oh, who's this Højlund kid we bought for 70 million quid and blah, blah, blah. Like, the kid's been here for 6 months. I think he's super talented. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he needs work. And I think the players around him definitely need to help him out. But I'm excited about him. And he's one of the gems that I'm speaking about today. The next one I'm going to talk about is Alejandro Garnacho, because this kid's on a similar trajectory, but he's got that little bit of, is it je ne sais quoi, what Henri says? He's got that star quality on it. And I think the performance last night from him was one of the best performances I've seen. Probably the best, actually. I'm not even going to lie. The best performance I've seen from him in a Manchester United shirt. He is just fucking fearless. He don't give a shit. You know exactly what this kid is going to do as soon as he picks it up on the half turn. He just runs at people, causes problems. He's quick, great at dribbling. You know, even on the right-hand side when he was deployed there, I thought that was really, really interesting because we've seen every time Marcus and Garnacho have played together, he's accommodated for Garnacho, and Garnacho's been on the left, and then Marcus Rashford has been on the right-hand side. Switched it up yesterday, and I thought Garnacho looked miles better on the right. Even the one concern I have with right-footed players is the fact that it's almost like the opposite to Anthony, the fact that they don't cut in. But he was doing that yesterday. He was cutting it in, but then dribbling it centrally, which would leave space for whoever, you know, Wan-Bissaka or Bruno would drift out wide. Like, he was causing problems wherever he went, and I absolutely loved that about him. He's only 19 years old. He's just had a kid. He's got the world ahead of him. And the thing is, with these kind of players, I think what a lot of people take, you know, for granted in a sense is the fact that, think if you was in that position, you know, you're as good as Garnacho is, you have this kind of attitude about yourself, which has been called out for before. You know, just had a kid, your whole head could be an absolute mess, couldn't it? But this is why I say he's just fucking fearless, because he gives his best every single game. He works his fucking ass off, and he's a super, super talented boy. And I'm a huge, huge fan of him. And I think, you know, there's a lot of question marks about the number 7, weren't there, when, you know, when obviously it got given to Mason Mount. And a couple of people were skeptical about it, people on the channel and stuff, and they were saying, I don't know if he's ready for it yet. But his attitude, he is. He is. Look, statistically, he's not up there with some of the best, of course. I think he's got 5 goals and 1 assist in 25 games. But don't forget that overhead kick as well. I think that counts for about 10 goals. The one against Everton, you know, goal of the decade, almost. And only super, super talented players can pull that off. You know, he looks up to Ronaldo. I think he likes to kind of base his game a little bit on Ronaldo's. I think we all remember when Ronaldo first come to the club. I am in no way saying that this kid is going to replicate what Cristiano Ronaldo did at Manchester United, but there are similarities, and that's what I love. There's a bit of nostalgia about it. There's a bit of romance, and I am absolutely all for that. I think Garnacho's, you know, they're going to make mistakes, definitely. And decision-making at times is a bit mad when he gets into the important areas. Like I mentioned before, with Højlund, doesn't pass it sometimes, always goes for the shot. But just imagine when this lot are refined. That is a very, very scary thought. You know, you look at someone like Marcus Rashford, who, you know, for all intents and purposes, his talent is there to see. He's a very talented boy, but Marcus struggles with confidence. I think that's his issue. You know, you see him have these real spikes in a season like last season. You scored 30 goals in all comps, I think it was an absolute killer in front of goal, running at people, just frightening. And then he completely drops off. I haven't seen that yet with Garnacho. Maybe that will happen when he gets a little bit older. But he doesn't doubt himself. That's the thing about him. No matter what game he goes into, no matter what wing back he's coming up against, no matter what the situation is, where we are in the league table, he'll show up. He'll absolutely show up. And what a player to have. I think, you know, deep down in my heart, I think he's made for like a Real Madrid or a Barcelona. I obviously want to keep him, if he's performing like this and he's going to continue on that trajectory, you obviously want to keep him for the foreseeable, right? But for me, it feels like he is on that trajectory where he's going to end up in Spain. He's going to end up at a Barcelona or a Madrid, because he just has that kind of... It depends what happens with United, I suppose. In a few years' time, if we're competing for titles and cups and things like this, then, you know, it might be different. But I've always had that in the back of my mind. Every time I talk about Garnacho, Real Madrid are always like that there, and I know there's been links with them before. So yeah, but just to have him now is a joy, even in this kind of environment where certain senior players are struggling. The youngsters are showing up, and I think that definitely speaks volumes. And for the next player I'm going to talk about as well, I think he embodies that. He's this is why it's more impressive. But let's talk about Kobbie Mainoo, right? Let me get a drink because my throat's dry as fuck. I'm going to need some voice lubrication for this, because I'm not going to stop ranting about Kobbie Mainoo. Of course, a different kind of player to Rasmus, a different kind of player to Garnacho. This kid plays like a seasoned 30-year-old player who's got like 500 caps for a team. I can't believe how composed he is for an 18-year-old kid. Started 5 games in the Premier League this season. He's got balance, he's got composure, awareness, football intelligence. Obviously, there was a plan to bring him into the squad during pre-season, but he picked up that injury against Real Madrid. Eric Ten Hag was gutted about this because you can see the balance he provides, and it's crazy, yeah, because for such a young age, look at the players in the squad. Whenever we've tried other ones in the 6, it just doesn't work. And he's not even technically a 6, to be honest. He's played more as an 8. But when you're playing there, look at the balance yesterday when we had Mainoo, Eriksen, and Bruno Fernandes in that midfield. It was so much better. And if we didn't have him, we'd probably have to shift things around. We'd have to put Eriksen at 6, which has never worked. McTominay back in the team, and it just changes a load of things. Having him there, especially when Casemiro is out, is mega. Is massive for us. And you've seen him. What I love the most, yeah, is he has played the most hostile atmospheres you can get this season in like his first 3 or 4 games. Everton, Goodison Park, anyone will tell you, excuse me, very hostile atmosphere. Liverpool, Anfield, showed up there, had a very good game. Galatasaray as well, equally. I mean, everyone tells you that's one of the toughest atmospheres in Europe, in world football. And he just plays with a wine glass. He's just swanning about, never gets too... I always reference this, and people are probably sick of it, but people who have worked with him always say this about him, that he never gets too hot-headed, never, too low. He's measured, he's composed, and you can see that in his performances. And there is a reason why our enemies wanted him in Man City, because he is that kind of player. I mean, him under Pep would grow significantly, and he could be a Rodri replacement in that sense. Of course, I don't want that to happen because he's a United player. I wouldn't, if I was to compare him with United of old, it's hard. I wouldn't say he's a Carrick or not even necessarily a Scholes, but I just like how he gets it. Some players get it in your pant, like McTominay, when he receives it on a half turn or, to feet, whatever it is. You worry about it, don't you? You instantly like, fucking hell. Even Bruno sometimes, you're like, don't play that stupid pass because you know he's going to try it. When Kobbie gets it, apart from the West Ham game recently where he obviously made a mistake, you just trust him with it. You trust him with the ball. And if we trust him as fans, you can imagine the rest of the squad it is at ease, which then flows throughout the team. I think Varane, who obviously isn't a youngster and isn't a part of this Wonderkids show, but Varane being in the team helps as well. You can push higher up the pitch. You can commit to the press, the wing-backs try. Like, everything is in unison and links and joins. And again, he's another one where we look at, I think, if you look at him now, how he's playing at the age of 18, imagine when he's actually experienced, right? And he's 25 years old. And he's got a couple of 100 caps. I'm praying to God that we can keep hold of him because he is a seriously talented boy. I'm not sure about his contract situation. It's probably something that I should have checked, to be honest, before I went live. If anyone knows, feel free to put it in the chat. But if it's a year up on 2 years, get that boy signed down to another couple of years. Because I have no doubt in my mind he has the right kind of temperament to go on and be a very successful player for Manchester United. And I would say equally with the other players around him. We obviously have this new 25% Ineos thing coming in. They're going to make some changes. Look, they're going to look at the youth and going to be like, look, we need to, if we get the right seasoned professionals around these, and a couple maybe your youngsters, and we can really start to build something here because there's talent at the club. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of Ahmad. People might say he's hardly played a game for United. You don't know what he's going to do there, but what he did at Sunderland I thought was interesting. You've got potentially a full front line there and a midfielder of young, very talented players. Ahmad, Højlund, Kobbie Mainoo, Garnacho, people like Hannibal Mabry, Dan Gore was on the pitch last night. I wouldn't say there's that many defenders. I mean, Camboala, in fairness to him, I've only seen bits, of course. He came on as a cameo yesterday, looked okay, didn't look out of place against West Ham. But there are young talents there, and I just don't want them to go to waste because when they aren't surrounded by the proper players and the proper people, the talent goes to waste. I think Gary Neville said that. If you put him, Scholes, Beckham, all these kind of kids into this team now, they would fail. They would fail. He said that numerous times. So you have to water the plants right. If we do that, I think the 3 kids that I've mentioned are going to be top players, and I'm excited to see how they develop. I'm going to be watching very closely. We did a video on Kobbie Mainoo I think last year, actually, detailing what we think Erik ten Hag should do. And it's almost happened like a replica to that. Yeah, really, really happy. They deserve the flowers. Sometimes you just got to sit back and you just got to go, you know, fair play. Well done, kids. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Keep this kind of cycle going, you know, and just keep it moving, because I think they've got the real potential to be successful in this game. And hopefully, you know, who knows, sometimes, I mean, it seems very far away at the moment, but I think, who knows, they could be winning trophies and titles with us. I mean, technically, Garnacho already has with the Carabao Cup. Kobbie Mainoo was on the pitch at the end of the game. You have to introduce him to winning and getting in the right kind of habits. You know what I'm saying? So, long may it continue. Long may the development continue. And let's try and sort things out around him so they can become top world-class players for Manchester United. That is what I want. That is my dream. And that is why I've done a show today, to kind of dedicate a bit to him, because they've been receiving a lot of shit over the past couple of weeks, likewise with the experienced heads. And I think they deserve a bit of praise. But kick on. Don't just, you know, look at this game and think, oh, right, we've done it now. Oh, you know, kick back, that's it. No. Let's continue this. Let's keep doing what you're doing. You know, Garnacho, consistency. Rasmus, let's get more goals on the board. Mainoo, let's get some more minutes. Let's get, you know, a few more starts in the Premier League. Let's get into double figures, shall we? I think that is the message I would send to these youngsters if they was even ever watching this video. But big up yourselves. I doubt any of you are watching it, but I've been thoroughly impressed with the way you guys played last night. And yeah, leave your opinions in as well. Let me know if there's any other ones who I haven't mentioned who you have an eye on in terms of a young player at the club who you think, you know, could be a bit of a dark horse in terms of being successful at the club. Who would you put in? Who's that one guy? Put it in leave it in the comments section for us. Like I said, if you're watching it live or watching it later on. We've got Zedets saying, I think if Rasmus gets better service, he'll score a lot of goals. Exactly that. I touched on that at the start of the video. He's bottom of the table for service in terms of strikers. And that's why I've been so patient, because I know the situation at United. I know how we've played, and I know he doesn't receive the ball. It's a graveyard shift. Everyone knows the striker shift's a graveyard shift, so it looked like we made some amendments towards that last night. I'm not going to, you know, all-reg the pudding, because I want to see the next game now against Nottingham Forest. If we can play in a similar style to that, then we can start talking. But until then, let's let him cook, and let's see, like I said, how they develop. Please do leave a like on the video for us. Just a quick video tonight. I appreciate the football's on. So I wanted to do a quick 20-25 minute video, just, you know, giving them the flowers to Garnacho, Rasmus and Kobbie. But yeah, leave a like on the video for us if you've enjoyed it. Please do subscribe to Real Reds Talk. This is my first show where I'm running it myself on OBS. So if there's been any audio issues or anything at all, again, let me know as well, any feedback. But hopefully it seems to have gone smooth. I hope you have all liked it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. There's 2 videos dropping in the next couple of days. There's one for, of course, the Nottingham Forest preview. And then we have one as well about the transfer window and what 3 players we would sign, which I think is going to be interesting. Adam and Aaron are going to be on that one. And I think Shreyas and Sam are doing the preview. So as always, stay tuned to Real Reds Talk. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe. You're all a bunch of legends. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Peace.